Hey YouTube, it's Mark from Freedom Gorilla, and today we're going to be reviewing Holosun's most expensive pistol optic, the 509T. The 509T is an enclosed reflex optical sight designed for pistol applications. Its features include a titanium housing, Holosun Super LED with up to 50,000 hours of battery life, multi-reticle system, solar FailSafe, and Shakeawake technology. Let's start out with what an enclosed emitter optic is and how it compares to an open emitter optic. Unlike the 407 or 507K and C series, which are open reflex optics, the 509T is an enclosed optic. Enclosed optics feature an enclosed emitter that utilizes a hood-like system and an additional lens to protect the emitter and ensure nothing can come between your lens and the emitter. A drop of rain or snow or even lint from your pocket, for example, can go on the emitter and cause your reticle to spatter or starburst with an open emitter. With no reticle, obviously the optic is quite useless. So in a closed optic, that's not an issue at all. But there are obviously pros to open optics. They lack a hood and a second piece of glass, which cuts down on weight, which is obviously a huge benefit for a pistol application. The difference between the weight between a 507C and a 509T is 0.22 ounces, which is pretty decent. Or if you're looking at a rifle optic, the 510C is approximately 10% lighter than the 512C. Open emitter optics also grant you a clearer overall view because of that lack of the second glass there. And finally, they tend to be cheaper than enclosed optics as well. So when deciding if you want an open or enclosed emitter, in my opinion, I'd think about how durable you want it and how much you want to spend as well. If this is your first red dot and you just want to see if you'd like it or not, then open emitters like the K or C series are totally fine, and they're way more popular too, in my opinion. But if you're hard on your guns and you want a bulletproof, reliable red dot, it's hard to beat those enclosed emitter red dots, especially the 509T, which has a titanium casing and can take a beating. Now let's look at some of the features of this optic. Like most other Holosun pistol optics, the 509T has Shakeawake technology. This means that whenever you pick up the pistol, the optic will automatically turn on, which is one of my favorite features. After 10 minutes of no movement, the 509T will enter the sleep mode. And with a long battery life, there's no need to really worry about batteries dying on you, especially since it also has a FailSafe solar panel. The solar FailSafe uses a dual power system. It first uses the solar cell and also has an internal CR1632 battery. The battery can power the device up to 12,000 hours on the circle plus dot mode or 50,000 hours using a dot only on setting 6. This means that the battery can stay on for 500 days straight using the circle dot mode and 2,083 days using just the dot. And with Shakeawake turning off the optic after 10 minutes of no movement, you should have nothing to worry about as far as the battery goes. And just a quick side note, Holosun also says do not use a rechargeable battery, so just use the standard 1632 if you ever need to change that battery. Now let's review the sight operation and the different settings of the 509T, and I'll even let you know my personal favorite settings too. So to turn on the optic, you either press the plus or minus brightness button, and to turn it off, you press both the plus and minus brightness buttons simultaneously. And once the optic is on, there are 3 settings you can use: auto, manual, and lock mode. Auto mode is the default, and it operates with the solar cell and internal battery two-way power supply. Essentially, based on your ambient lighting level, the light will auto adjust the brightness of the dot and will also switch between the battery and the solar power cell if the solar cell cannot drive the reticle alone. You can switch to the manual mode from auto mode by holding the plus brightness button for about 3 seconds. You'll know it's on manual mode when the reticle blinks once. In manual mode, there are 12 reticle brightness levels. Level 1 and 2 are night vision compatible, and obviously setting 12 is the highest brightness. You can increase or decrease the brightness level by pressing the plus or minus brightness buttons, and personally I always leave mine on the manual mode and right about setting 6 with the 32 MOA ring only. And one cool feature of this sight is it will remember the last saved brightness setting when you power it on or off. Unless you take out the battery, then it goes back to the auto mode. And the last setting is lock mode, which you get there from the manual mode by pressing the plus brightness button for about 3 seconds. And like the last time, the LED light will blink once. In lock mode, any presses of the plus or minus brightness settings obviously won't change anything. And to exit the lock mode, all you have to do is press the plus brightness setting for about 3 seconds again, and then you're back into auto mode. One of the features of this optic is it uses Holosun's multi-reticle system, so you're able to choose between a 32 MOA circle and a 2 MOA dot, or just a 2 MOA dot only, or just a 32 MOA circle in that order. By default, the circle dot is on, and to change it to any other reticle, you just have to press that minus brightness setting for about 3 seconds. Next, let's cover the installation on the slide. It is different from the K and C series, but still not overly complicated to install. The 509T comes included with an RMR adapter plate, which is the same footprint as the 407 and 507C. And Holosun also sells an MOS adapter for the 509T, and I've seen a couple of other adapters as well. So to install the 509T, first you have to attach the mounting plate onto the slide using the two included 1632 T10 flathead screws, and tighten the screws to 15 inch-pounds. Then using the included T10 Torx tool, loosen the clamp screws and attach the 509T onto the plate so that the recoil lug engages in the slot on the plate. Then applying forward pressure, tighten to 20 inch-pounds. Side note here, while looking at the 509T, I was wondering if the clamp would fit into a Picatinny rail, and it does not, but I do see an adapter that would work for it online. Now let's take a look at what comes inside the box. You'll find the 509T, the RMR mounting plate, screws for installation, a user manual, a cloth for cleaning the window, a T10 Torx wrench for the screws with a flat side tip to adjust the windage and elevation. To zero in, the elevation adjustment is located on the top of the tail section of the housing, and the windage adjustment is located to the right side of the housing. However, this side has been factory adjusted to an approximate 25-yard zero and should require minimal adjustment to achieve zero. But if you needed, the windage and elevation adjustments are approximately 1 MOA per click. As for its dimensions, this optic is 1.6 by 1.6 by 1.13. It weighs 1.72 ounces, and the window size is 0.66 by 0.9. So let's compare that to the 507C, which is the same footprint. The 507C is 1.78 by 1.15 by 1.15. It weighs 1.5 ounces, and the window size is 0.63 by 0.91. So overall, the dimensions are pretty similar, but the 507C is slightly longer. And I would have thought that the 509T would have been a bit heavier since it's made of titanium and has that second lens, which is really cool to see that it's not super heavy. So how does this compare to the new Holosun EPS closed emitter line, which is pretty much what everyone's been talking about? The first thing to note is that the EPS has the same footprint as the K series, so it's a different mounting style from the 509T, which has a RMR footprint like the Holosun C series. That aside, the big deciding factors would be the window size, the cost, and your desired features. You can get the EPS and EPS carry in several different reticles. There's 2 MOA, 6 MOA, 2 plus 32 MOA with them using the multi-reticle system, and both are available in green and red. The regular EPS is for full size, and the carry is for subcompact guns. The EPS line is also made of aluminum, and the multi-reticle systems also have a solar cell like the 509T does. Overall, the closed emitter optics from Holosun are a great choice for someone who wants absolute reliability. The 509T is available at freedomgorilla.com, and let us know in the comments if you prefer an enclosed emitter or open, and if you're going to try either the 509T or the EPS optic.